Shortly after your wrestling debut, you work for Jim Cornette, Smoky Mountain Wrestling Promotion. What are your thoughts on the promotion and your thoughts on Jim Cornette?
I thought the promotion was a good promotion. I really did. I mean, they put on good shows. They had good talent, and I enjoyed it. But you know, I like Jim Cornette. Like him a lot. You know, me and him have always had a good relationship. But I just, you know, I ended up actually making more money working a regular job than wrestling, and so I went ahead and decided to go back to work. And that was the time too also when I just started getting my hands into racing, and I got that taste for racing, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stay home and build me a race car, you know, and just work a regular job, and we'll race on weekends. So.
Gotcha. Let's go to our first video submission.
Yes. I'd like you to ask Bob Holly where the flowered, feathered, pink and black robe that I bought him for the grand sum of $125 in 1992 is in his closet, because I'd like to have it. Hollywood Bob Holly. He started in a pink feather boa, and he ended up going through a race car and being a WWF superstar into a nicer guy. It couldn't happen.
Well, Jim,
Where's the robe? Where's the robe?
Everybody, he wants to know where the robe is. Hanging up in my closet, actually. And it's been dry cleaned. It's hanging up in plastic. I still got it. And if you want it, Jimmy, maybe we can work something out.
Jesse Woodruff, memories of working for Jim Cornette and smoking. This is Jim as a boss, then,
Yeah.
I guess. How is it working for Jim?
Oh, he was great. He was great. You couldn't ask for a better boss than Cornette, because he, you know, I mean, he was easy to approach, easy to talk to, you know, and you just, if you do what he asked you to do, you're not going to have any problems.
Right.
You know, and I mean, that's just basically the way it is. You do what you're told to do and go out there and do what he asked, you know, you're not going to have no problems with him. I never had a problem with him. To me, he's a great guy. Okay. He really is. He's one of my favorite people in all, you know, all of wrestling.
Brad Dykins from OnlineWorldOfWrestling.com. What did you think of Jim Cornette's booking while you were in Smoky Mountain?
Really? Never really thought about it. You know, he did the best he could with what he had, the money that he had to work with, and you know, it's just a shame that it didn't take off like it should have, because there was good shows, there was good talent, and you know, just he did the best he could.
Right. The Bulldozer from the Off the Mark show. Were there talks of a new Midnight Express back during the Smoky Mountain days?
Honestly, I don't think there was. I really don't think there was.
Okay. Paul Miller from the board at Figure4Online.com. What is your favorite Smoky Mountain wrestling memory?
Let's see. Well, actually, it's not my favorite. I did a promo and I just couldn't spit that damn thing out. We had to do it over 100 times. I mean, I had a lot of good memories of Smoky Mountain. Just you know, it was a good organization to wrestle for. I mean, it had good towns. All the towns were just, you know, it was fun to work for them. But you know, like Cornette said, you know, I got my nose into racing, and then I got a taste of that, and it was like that's all I thought about.
Right.
You know, so because honestly, I didn't think I was going to make it in wrestling. I really didn't, because it was so hard back then to get in. You know, and I was like, you know what? I want to race. So.
Nate from WrestlingClassics.com. What are some of your favorite guys to work with in Smoky Mountain?
Tim Horner was one. Oh shoot, who else? Robert Gibson was another. God, that was a long time ago. I'll remember who was there.
We'll throw one out if you think of it later.
Yeah.
Peter H. from the board at F4WOnline.com. Any road stories from Smoky Mountain?
No, not really. You know, because I went up there, did the shows, and came back. You know, I'm not much of a partier or anything like that. So.
Do you travel alone mostly, or do you?
No, I really didn't back then. Me and Robert Gibson traveled together, you know, but other than that, you know, we never really did anything that stood out.
Sparky plug is this chapter.
Yes.
Brett Dykins from OnlineWorldOfWrestling.com. What events led to your first employment with WWE? Who called you to tell you the good news?
Oh my God. What was? Help me out here. I came home from work, and it was on the answering machine.
Finkel.
No, J.J. Dillon.
J.J. Dillon, that's
Yeah,
right.
J.J. Dillon called me, and I was in shock. I had J.J. Dillon on my answering machine. Couldn't believe it. I know I didn't erase it for a long time. Kept playing it over and over. You know, so that's who called me.
Glenn Notaro. Met Mr. Holly at WrestleMania 10 Fan Fest, and he was nice to us and made my mom take a picture with him. Ever since then, I've been a fan of his. Thank you. Best wishes to you, DVD shooting reviews, and Mr. Holly. My question is, who came up with the idea of Thurman Sparky plug?
Vince did, because I was into racing, and and of course, that when they come up with something, you just go with it.
You do it.
You do it, exactly.
Graham from historyofwwe.com. What did you think of the Sparky plug gimmick?
At first, I was really glad because I was just happy to get a job and get my foot in the door. Then after about 6 months, it just, I wasn't comfortable with the character because that's not who I really was. I was trying to be somebody that I wasn't, and it just, I couldn't get that, when I was out in the ring, I was not comfortable. And so I went to Vince, and actually we were on a flight somewhere, and somebody asked me, he said, "You're a wrestler?" I said, "Yeah, what's your name?" And I wouldn't tell them. And they kept on. And I was like, "Sparky plug." And that's the exact response I got, just like that. And that made my mind up, I'm going to TV and I'm going to tell Vince, Vince, we've got to do something. And Vince was really understanding about it. I said, "Vince," I said, "thank you for the job. Thank you, for the gimmick." I said, "If it wasn't for this, I wouldn't be here, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "The name's got to go."
Right.
I said, and I told him, just like I told you, that I'm not comfortable doing it. And he said, "Okay, you got any suggestions?" I said, "How about Bob Holly?" And he said, "Okay." I mean, it was that easy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. The Bulldozer from Off Mark. Is it true you were supposed to drive an actual NASCAR vehicle to the ring at one point?
No, sir.
Alrighty. Brad Dykins, OnlineWorldOfWrestling.com. What was your favorite match during the Sparky plug run?
Gosh. Probably when me and 123 Kid worked with the Smoking Guns. I think that was on Monday Night Raw.